Okay. I said I called it the gap. And this is how I explain it. It is the desire to move from one point to another. Just that desire. It is not just the desire only, but the identification of the desire. You can actually be in one position and not desire to leave. And when bigger opportunities come, because you want to stay, you just stay. That is not what I'm saying. The gap is what I call the ability to find that need and the desire to say, oh, I want to fill up this need. The gap can be from one state or even from one personal level to another. How do I give this up? Okay, for a 100 level student going into 200 level, the ability to cross from that level into 200 is what I call the gap. Inside this gap, he needs to attend classes. Inside this gap, he needs to read and prepare for tests. Inside the gap, he needs to read and prepare for examinations. If for any reason he has not done any of the things that are required of him to pass, he will not be allowed to go into the next level. So I would like to say at this point that many people struggle with their next level because they have not even identified the gap that will take them there. Now, of the many things that a student is taught in a semester, it is not everything that is asked for on examination day. It is what the examiner thinks, okay, I would like to ask for this. That you will find in the exam questions, not even what the student wants, identifying the gap. So your ability to prepare all rounder, in preparing for what the lecturer intends to say, is the desire to meet the gap. All right. So if you ever desire to get promotion or thank you. I found the word. If you ever desire to have emotional upgrade, intellectual upgrade from one significant level to another, you have to find a gap and you have to meet the gap. Identifying the desire to be able to shift grounds is what I call the gap. Now, you still may not understand it, but I'll put it in context very soon. This is the summary of it. Whether it is business or personal development, study that thing you are committed to very well. Yes, study it very well. And when you have given yourself to it, you will now begin to find certain parts that have not been fulfilled, not been met. When you find that part, you have found the gap. When you meet the needs of that part, you have filled the gap and you are qualified to get into the next level. Let me use business as an example. So let's assume you do hair selling, you sell hair products, and you sell hair in itself. But in the geographical location where you are, nobody has a delivery system that delivers hairs to the customers at home. In fact, the customers in this area have to come to the wherever shop they intend to buy, look at the hair, and then take it home. The transportation cost and every other thing is still there. So you have simply by studying your business well, you have found a gap. The gap is that even those who try to sell online, the customers cannot recognize exactly what they want to buy, so they have trust issues. So you now work with a video system where you call your class and then you take them around the tour of the shop with a video display. They see the hair, they get to have a sensation of the hair that is different from a picture, and then you pack it up right in front of them while they are still on the video call and you send it to their house so they know that it was what they picked that they are getting. You have found a gap in customer satisfaction. Exactly. Now the gap you have found is the satisfaction of the customers. Because you are satisfying the customers better, you can make extra profit out of them. Now, let me use a geographical example. For example, where you are located now, nobody sells a particular kind of product. Let's say nobody sells sneakers. You have looked around, the nearest place to get a sneaker has to be more than 10, 15 kilometers away from you. And many people in your area love to have sneakers. Now, because you have studied your geographical location, you have found something that they need. That is the identification of the gap. Now, by finding that thing they need, if you can meet it, you have met the gap and you are qualified for a profit. That profit you just got is what I call scaling up. No, not necessarily scaling up, is what I call promotion from one level to another. So you study what you have in your hand until you begin to see certain areas that nobody has ever done before. Of course, there are things like that. Before now, there was no chat GPT. So if you wanted to do any search, you go for Google. Immediately chat GPT came, we now have audio to AI, audio to video converter, video to audio AI, transcription AI, different kinds of AI, artificial intelligence. It is because some people have committed themselves to artificial intelligence studies, and immediately they find a part that, oh, this part has not been integrated into artificial intelligence. Let me put it there. When they put it there, they create a tech startup from it, and they are working in profit. Why? They found the gap, they met the gap, and they are promoted because of that. That promotion is called profiting. So, whatever it is you are doing, whatever business it is you are doing, go for a high level study. I mean, very deep study, not peripheral surface level studies. No, research deep into that thing you have in your hand. And when I mean deep, I mean very deep. If you ask me very deep, I will simply ask, how old are you? If you tell me 26, I will say, go and read as go and get materials. I mean, materials, books, and audios, and they should exceed 26 in number for you to be able to study and compare from many sources over that subject matter. For example, let me give another example to differentiate, to put out the context very well. In a place where many people offer nail tech services, those who fix nails for ladies, it is something that many people now do. Yeah, fixing of nails and they call themselves nail tech, and it's fine. Many people now fix nails, but you realized in your vicinity, in your community, nobody in your community, you realize that when ladies come to fix their nail, they also want to get their hair done, and they also want to have a facial treatment. This is it. Many people fix the nails. There's somebody out there who has a spa. There's another person out there who has a salon, a hair salon. But nobody has all of them together. So the ladies have to leave one place to go to another, to go to another to get all three done. But because you have found a gap, and the gap is that nobody has brought all of these services together in one place where the customer can just stand up from one point and move to the other point. That you have found is a gap. Now, immediately you meet that gap by having a nail salon, a hair salon, and a facial treatment spa right beside each other. You are definitely going to make more profit because those services are complementary. People have different stands for different services, but because those services are complementary, you have brought them together. You have found the gap. You have met the gap. You are qualified for promotion. There it is. You have a profit. So, in a bid to find this gap in whatever you do, the first thing is that you will study hard. You will study hard. I really do not believe in successful people who will come out and say, we just did the little we could do and we left the rest to God. They stole, they are thieves. They either inherited the money they have or they stole it. I can say that categorically. For you to be able to work in certain level of wealth, and I'm saying this unrepentantly, you will give yourself to diligent studies and diligent application of the knowledge you have acquired. I'll say it again. For high level success, you will give yourself to diligent study and diligent application of knowledge acquired. Because if you just want to live a basic life, it is fine. Just get a job, get a salary, and everything will go well for you. But even in that same space where you have a job, some people are still going to see a gap and they are going to meet the gap, and some of them are going to get promoted while you will remain in the same level because you could not find the gap that you could meet. So show me success without diligence. I call it a lie. Somebody has stolen, somebody has lied. Somebody has lied. There's a thief somewhere. All right. So study hard, get away from the the limitation of the common knowledge. There's such a thing called the common knowledge. What everybody just knows this to this level. Break away from that. Go for extra knowledge. Break away from the common knowledge. All right. Leave room in your heart for growth. Consume knowledge. I will not lie to you. Now, having acquired this knowledge, you have to modify it to meet your personal space. Knowledge is general, principles are general. I'm sure you understand that. Principles are generic in nature. You have to find a way to modify the knowledge you have acquired into your personal dealing, into your personal sales. For example, if you read a book on business, the author of that book might not talk about your hair salon or your nail tech. But if you carry the principles he has talked about and you apply it into your business and you modify the principles to fit into your business, you will realize you can adopt the same principle and you make profit from it. So get ready to personalize the knowledge you have acquired, modify it, and fit it into a person-specific nature. Now, another thing you will need to pay attention to on this part of finding and meeting gaps is that even though I have said you have to go for much knowledge, sometimes a lot of the knowledge out there is total nonsense, complete bullshit. So you have to test your knowledge. The knowledge you have acquired, you have to test it. Number one, I call it the application test. This thing they are teaching you, how many people have learned it? How many people has you worked for? If it has not worked for anybody, it is very close to nonsense. Now you will find out that many people have complementary businesses. For example, some people are a person is selling car in the first mall, and just beside him, there's somebody who is selling tires. You find out in the common spare parts market, somebody is selling the spare part of this car, somebody is selling, they are just right beside each other. So you need one thing, this person does not have the other person. So when you put big complementary businesses together, you make more profit. That one has been tested and trusted at every level. So every knowledge you're acquiring, every knowledge you are trying to modify into your own personal space must be tested. The first test is the application test. Has it ever worked for any model of business before? Test it. If it has never worked for any model of business before, be careful to take that risk. The second test is what I call the controversy test. If the knowledge you are acquiring is too controversial and it makes some people feel special and make some people and some other people are questioning it, take your time with it. Don't apply it just yet. Somebody has been saying nonsense. When the knowledge is too controversial, there's somebody lying. Some things have been tested and trusted. There's no need for controversy. If you ever meet people's need, you will meet it in exchange for profit. That is how the world works. So if there's something like that and there's someone is saying it's not every time you will make profit if you meet people's needs, it means there's somebody lying in that place. You have to find the lie. You have to find the lie and you have to dissolve the lie before you are able to proceed with the acquisition. So acquire knowledge, have a desire for growth, and the knowledge you have acquired, test them. All right, you don't just believe everything, you test it. In fact, the scripture says, test all spirit. You are even if we are in spiritual things, we are testing all spirits, yeah. In mental and intellectual and business things, we are testing all knowledge. We are testing all knowledge. That person whom you say is teaching you, what does the person know? Like, how can you show the person knows anything? How? You don't know if this person is committed to learning, but then you want to learn from them. You are making a mistake. You're making a mistake here. Go for people who have learned and who have practiced. At best, people who have learned and the things they have learned, they have been able to practice it through others because some people's trade is actually knowledge. For example, I have people under me who do certain businesses that I don't do. But the things I know, I shift it and apply it into their business, and it works and brings them massive profit. Me, I know it. I'm not doing the business. The business I'm doing is different from their own, but I'm able to apply my knowledge into their business. It has been tested somewhere. You have to get the gist, all right? The secret to finding gaps and meeting it is what I call personal development. Don't be satisfied with the level you are for too long. That is complacency and mediocrity. Do not desire complacency and mediocrity for any reason. No, he is not godly. He is not virtuous. He is not virtuous, I mean. Bury it. person always see when they ask you what is your growth target, the first thing you can tell them in okay, at this level, this is what I intend to do, this is what I intend to do. However, I intend to do more. You say things like, for now, this is what I intend to do. The fact that you have put a for now behind it, it means there's an allowance for the future. If you ever give a fixed answer to a certain question, it means you are not giving room for growth. Always have a growth mindset. Never have a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset will tell you, this is what I am, this is who I am. A growth mindset will tell you, this is who I am now. This is what I am now. There's a now attached to it, because if the world needs to change, me too, I will change. All right? Me too, I will change. Before now, if you want to write and publish a book, you will go through a whole lot of stress. Nowadays, you can write, get an editor online to help you read and edit it, and you self-publish. But there's somebody who tell you, if you don't have a publishing company, it's a lie. Yeah, the world changes. So have a now behind who you are, because you have to be who you are as at now. Have a growth mindset. Yeah. So let me continue by saying every business has a gap in it. Every craft has a gap in it. Because the issue is, as long as we exist on this earth, we will almost never have enough. People have been doing research on diabetes for many years. Till today, diabetes still does not have a cure. We only have many systems of managing it. There's always a gap. My master's and PhD, I did research on Alzheimer's disease and neurotoxicity. Till now, although the therapies I proposed, they all worked, but we still don't have a permanent cure for Alzheimer's disease. There will always be a research gap, even in the research world. Now, in the business world, there will always be a business gap that you need to meet. You must find it. The secret to your success is that you will find that gap and you will meet it. If you don't find the gap, you are not qualified for success. No, 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 no. Nobody is going to offer you that on a platter of gold. In fact, I feel like one of the reasons why failure exists is to test people's resolve and desire. Do you really want it? Because if you fail in your first trial and you give up, it shows you really don't want it. If you really want that same thing and you fail in your first trial, you must be ready to go give it a second shot. Yeah. So failure is not fatal. It's a minor thing. So, for example, there are certain gaps that you can easily identify in businesses. For the service you are rendering now, how can you render it better? One, how can you render it faster? Two, does the service exist in certain areas? For example, now, as wonderful as Ekiti State in Nigeria is, ShopRite did not get there before ShopRite left Nigeria. As ShopRite left Nigeria, that I don't really know. But the 3 hours away from Ado Ekiti is the city of Ilorin. There's a huge and massive. There was a huge and massive ShopRite mall there. As when I lived in Ilorin, it means if you can bring a model of that size into Ado Ekiti, you would be a massive success, because that model, although it is profitable in another area, does not exist in this area. So how can you offer your service better? How can you offer your service faster? Does your service exist in certain regions? If it doesn't exist there, go there, go and establish a presence there. Now apply the knowledge from one sector into another sector. The knowledge that has helped you prosper in your hair business, your customer satisfaction, your product acquisition, can you just transfer it to your nail business, from your hair business to your nail business? Then you will now modify it according to the nail business and see how well it will prosper. So application of idea from one business to another, it will also show you gaps. Now, modifying already existing ideas, like the one I mentioned before, complementary services. Somebody offers hair alone, somebody offers nail alone, somebody offers spa services alone. Bring all the three together, offer it together, and see if you will not make the profit. Yeah. There's even something called departmental store in basic business studies in secondary school. Let's leave that part. So the next thing is to find irregularities. Now, irregularities in certain businesses and crafts you are doing may not be evil things. In fact, people may not know that those things are not good enough until you bring a much better version. Let me give an example. Before now, when we were using Android 2.0, Android 4.0, we felt it was the best and there was no problem with it. Now, if you bring those Android versions to the most current Android versions, you will feel like somebody is punishing you. More often than not, people don't know how good that service can be offered until you bring a better version. Yes, people don't know it can be better until you show them it can be better. Before now, people would need to get a professional camera to be able to go into content creation. Now, if you have a standard iPhone or you have a good phone with good camera, you are straight into content creation and video editing without needing a laptop and a professional camera. Nobody knew it could be done better until somebody attempted it. Find the gap. All right? Find the gap and meet the gap. That way, you are qualified for success and for the profit attached to it. Be creative enough to always, the secret to finding the gap is one, think. Having acquired knowledge, having given yourself to personal study is simple. Think. If you find somebody who talks a lot, honestly, they are close to being empty. They are talking to this person, talking to that person, talking to the next person. They are close to, it's not like they are close to being empty. They are virtually empty, technically empty, because there's no new knowledge they have acquired. And they are not thinking. The more you think, the better you become within you. And the better you become within you, the better you can produce outside. All right. The quality of what you produce is the quality of what is inside you. It's as simple as that. If you ever listen to a rich man talk, it is because what he has in him has now translated into physical success. You will listen to them not because they have the money, but because something is coming out of them that is very refined. The ideas that has made them wealthy, they have tested it and refined it inside them and they have executed it. You may have a similar idea, but you have not refined it. You have not gone through the process of building like they have. So think a lot and give yourself to much diligence in study and acquisition of knowledge. Think and find the gap. When you find the gap, check if it is profitable. If it is profitable, meet it, take the profit. All right. I never encourage laziness, neither do I ever encourage not learning. Give yourself to knowledge. Give yourself to knowledge. You should start feeling sick if you don't learn something new in 3 days. Or if you don't learn something new on along the same field you have been learning in the last 3 days. Probably you are committed to studying one thing, and if in 3 days you have not studied something new along that line, please don't feel happy, don't feel convenient. Always give yourself to learning. And then the things you have learned, apply them. Think on them. You will find certain gaps and you will realize, oh, this was what these people knew when they created this idea, when they created that idea. If you have gotten to what they found by the time they created that idea, you are following the same path to their success. You too will become successful because you will also find one that none of them has ever found. Give yourself to much knowledge and think a lot. Don't be empty. Don't talk too much. Please don't talk too much. Please, I'm begging. Don't talk too much. Yeah, don't talk too much. Think. If you think a lot, and when it is time to talk, the excellence you will produce will be unimaginable. Because the things you want to say, you have said it to yourself. You have seen the part that made sense and the part that did not make sense. Now you are only presenting the part that is very reasonable. Think a lot before you talk. Hmm? And acquire much knowledge. This is the gap I promise that I will show you tonight. All right, wonderful people. I'm sure you have been blessed by this. I'm sure you have been blessed by this. One thing you can do for the people you love is to take this audio. It is recorded and I will make it available almost immediately on Telegram. Take this audio, send it to the people you love. Take this audio and send it to the people